In November 2001, author Michael Peterson discovered his wife, Kathleen, lifeless at the base of a staircase in their North Carolina residence. Allegedly, that's Peterson's account. Prosecutors, however, contended that Peterson was the one who put her there. It would lead to a lengthy and bizarre trial, which would earn worldwide fame and go on to be the greatest mystery of the decade. It was so known, it earned its own crime documentary series and subsequently an HBO miniseries adapted from the same. Born near Nashville in 1943, Michael Peterson's life was marked by diverse experiences, from serving in the Vietnam War to becoming an author of war novels. His marriage to Patricia Sue produced 2 sons, Todd and Clayton. The family's dynamics changed when Michael became the guardian of Margaret and Martha Ratliff after their parents' deaths. A subsequent divorce led to a custody split between Michael and Patricia, but their lives further intertwined when Michael met Kathleen, a telecoms executive, in 1986. Michael's life took a happy turn when he met Kathleen Hunt Atwater. The couple married in 1997, creating a blended family that included Michael's 2 sons, Todd and Clayton, from his previous marriage and Kathleen's daughter, Caitlin, from her first marriage. The Petersons were pillars of their community, with Michael contributing as an author and columnist for the Durham Herald-Sun newspaper. However, the tranquility of their Forest Hills home was shattered on that December night in 2001. Michael Peterson's call to 911 revealed a grim discovery: his wife, Kathleen, unconscious at the foot of the stairs. Peterson claimed she had fallen after an evening by the pool, but Detective Art Holland of the Durham Police noted the unsettling resemblance to a similar incident in 1985. The autopsy report found lacerations on Kathleen's skull, which, as District Attorney Jim Hardin argued to ABC News, weren't exactly consistent with a simple fall. I quote, "It's impossible for me to believe that this could be caused from a series of missteps or a fall down 15 different stairs," he said. I quote, "I just can't see that happening. This had to occur from multiple inflictions of blunt force trauma," unquote. The autopsy also revealed that Kathleen's brain had generated red neurons in the wake of its injuries, a finding that indicates cell death or a stroke. Hardin explained to NBC News that the presence of red neurons in Kathleen's brain meant that she had to have been deprived of oxygen, I quote, "for at least a 2-hour period. She's bleeding to death," unquote. Family friend Elizabeth Ratliff had also died at the foot of a staircase, and Michael had become the guardian of her children. Elizabeth met her tragic end in Germany in 1985 when she was discovered lifeless at the base of her staircase, bearing head injuries. The circumstances surrounding her demise prompted investigations by both German and US military police. An autopsy conducted at the time attributed Ratliff's death to an intracerebral hemorrhage secondary to the blood coagulation disorder von Willebrand's disease. This conclusion was based on findings such as blood in her cerebrospinal fluid and reports of severe persistent headaches in the weeks leading up to her demise. The coroner determined that the hemorrhage resulted in immediate death, followed by Ratliff collapsing and falling down the stairs. On the evening of her death, the Petersons had shared dinner with Ratliff and her daughters. Michael Peterson remained to assist Ratliff in putting the children to bed before returning home. The next morning, the children's nanny, Barbara, discovered Ratliff's lifeless body, making Peterson the last known person to see her alive. In anticipation of Peterson's trial, the Durham court ordered the exhumation of Ratliff's embalmed body, interred in Texas, for a second autopsy in April 2003. Despite objections from the defense counsel, who argued for Texas medical examiners to conduct the autopsy, the Durham medical examiner, responsible for Kathleen's initial autopsy, re-evaluated the case. Sufficient evidence from the second autopsy, coupled with new witness statements describing the scene, led to a significant overturning of the original findings, officially listing Ratliff's cause of death as homicide. The prosecution, although not directly accusing Peterson of Ratliff's death, incorporated it into the trial as an episode that might have inspired Peterson to stage Kathleen's accident. This move was met with skepticism, given earlier police reports suggesting minimal blood at the scene of Ratliff's death. During Peterson's trial, the nanny who discovered Ratliff's body in 1985 testified to a large amount of blood at the scene. Another witness recounted spending a significant portion of the day cleaning bloodstains off the wall. As investigators delved into Kathleen's death, more suspicions grew. Peterson's claim that she had fallen down the stairs after consuming alcohol and Valium was contradicted by the toxicology report. The presence of a bottle of wine and 2 glasses in the kitchen raised questions, as Kathleen's fingerprints were found on neither glass. A medical examiner's grim findings revealed that Kathleen had been bludgeoned to death, her scalp bearing multiple lacerations with dried blood, implying she had been in that position for some time. With Michael Peterson as the only other person in the house at the time, he became the prime suspect. The ensuing trial unfolded as a dramatic narrative, revealing the complexities of the Petersons' life. The prosecution painted a picture of a troubled marriage, alleging that Kathleen had discovered Michael's bisexuality, leading to a violent confrontation. Prosecutors claimed Michael killed Kathleen after she learned that he was bisexual and discovered approximately 2,000 photos of naked men on his computer, along with emails between Michael and a male escort he had met previously and was planning further meetings with. Michael maintained his innocence, saying his wife had accepted his sexuality. His attorneys also pointed out that the alleged murder weapon had no blood evidence or damage to it. Additionally, the prosecution suggested financial motives, highlighting a $1.5 million life insurance policy. The defense vehemently opposed these claims, portraying the Petersons' marriage as harmonious and arguing that Kathleen had accepted Michael's bisexuality. The introduction of a custom-made fireplace poker, a blowpoke, as the alleged murder weapon added a sensational twist. The missing blowpoke was later produced by the defense, seemingly untouched and incompatible with Kathleen's injuries. The trial concluded on October 10, 2003, with a guilty verdict. Michael Peterson received a life sentence without the possibility of parole, leaving him in shock. The twists and turns of the trial, the revelations about Michael's personal life, and the introduction of the blowpoke as a murder weapon captivated the nation. 5 years after Peterson's conviction, a neighbor, Larry Pollard, proposed an alternative theory that would challenge the established narrative. He suggested that Kathleen's injuries could be attributed to a barred owl attack. Initially met with skepticism, this theory gained credibility when a re-examination of the evidence revealed a tiny feather in Kathleen's hair and wood from a tree limb tangled in her pulled-out hair. Owl experts testified to the plausibility of this theory, suggesting that an owl, startled by Kathleen's presence, may have attacked her, leading to her fall down the stairs. This owl theory presented a new perspective on the events of that tragic night. Peterson's lead defense attorney, David Rudolph, expressed his belief in the theory, highlighting documented instances of owl attacks on humans. The re-examination of the evidence and the emergence of the owl theory ultimately led to a judge vacating Peterson's conviction in 2011. The judge cited false and misleading testimony by a blood splatter analyst as grounds for a retrial. However, before a retrial could take place, Peterson entered an Alford plea to voluntary manslaughter in February 2017. This plea allowed him to maintain his innocence while acknowledging that there was enough evidence for a conviction. Peterson received an 86-week sentence, but due to time already served, he was released. The twists in the case continued, with Peterson returning to Durham, having sold the house where Kathleen had met her tragic end. In the aftermath of Patricia Peterson's untimely death in July 2021, the Peterson family saga took an unexpected turn with Todd Peterson, Michael Peterson's son, making shocking allegations against his father. This revelation has added a new layer of complexity to the infamous staircase murder case that has now captivated the public's attention for over 2 decades. Todd Peterson's journey to publicly accuse his father of being a serial killer began in December 2021, as detailed in a YouTube video. In the video, Todd claimed that Michael Peterson had murdered both Elizabeth and Kathleen years before the HBO documentary The Staircase shed light on the family's tumultuous history, and he accused him of the death of his own mother in 2021. The catalyst for Todd's accusations was the alleged theft of money from a joint account and other unauthorized possessions by Michael after Patricia's passing. Todd, in a video statement, declared his intention to involve law enforcement, stating, and I quote, "I'm about to call the cops on my father for murdering my mother," unquote. According to Todd, his father's actions following Patricia's death led him to question Michael's innocence in Kathleen's case as well. Todd's suspicions about his father's involvement in the deaths of all 3 women he was close to were evident in a revealing Instagram post. However, the internet's response to Todd's claims was swift and brutal, with accusations of erratic behavior, conspiracy theories, and controversial statements. Critics pointed to Todd's earlier posts as evidence of a potential mental breakdown, casting doubt on the credibility of his allegations. Despite the intense scrutiny, Todd stood by his accusations, emphasizing his belief that Michael Peterson should spend the rest of his life in prison. In a bid to sway public opinion, Todd used various social media platforms to make his case, highlighting the need for justice when the legal system might fall short. As discussions on Todd's sudden turnaround and the validity of his claims proliferated across the internet, some speculated that Todd might be misdirecting public opinion or even implicated in Kathleen's death himself. Theories emerged suggesting that Todd could have been involved in the murder and subsequently fabricated a narrative to deflect suspicion from himself. The Peterson family saga continues to captivate the public's imagination, with Todd's allegations adding a new dimension to a case already shrouded in mystery. As the internet dissects Todd's claims and speculations multiply, the truth behind Kathleen's death and the possible involvement of other family members remains elusive, leaving room for further twists and turns in this enduring true crime saga.